Hello all, Dr. Fox back here with you, and I wanted to share this on June 25th. As of June 25th, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, MeTV Toons went live 2024 of this year. I was all excited. I wish I could have talked about it to build the hype and the excitement back then, and be able to talk to some of the individuals behind the magic that it makes. And there's just so much to tell about it. And we've been hearing some pros and cons. Oh, that's just my water. It keeps me hydrated as well. And I wanted to share a short, nothing too fancy. And sadly, I don't have all the nice little editing software that a lot of others do, and you can segue into different segments and things like that. And I just wanted to share. I thought it was kind of exciting to bring back and fill, I would say, about 98% of making my life almost complete, if you will. At least most of it. Some of my favorites I think I'll touch on. Of course, the Bugs Bunny block. I think if you catch gratuitous plug. I'm just kidding. I had a conversation just about Bugs on his birthday. Happy birthday, Bugs, as well. And I know that's been going on now for a few weeks. Or actually, it's just a little more than a month and a couple days, actually, a few weeks. But I've been wanting to touch on this one for a while. It's just kind of got me re-inspired as well to be able to talk to them. They went live in Chicago, Illinois, when this went live. And there's a whole, I'll put a link in there from MeTV Toons, and you can look for your affiliate. And sadly, I was hoping we'd find an affiliate for Maine as well, and maybe some you can share in the comments if you live in like New England and Maine. And I know some of the other states, I think they've gotten 41 on the market right now. I mean, we only got 11 more to go, guys and gals and everyone in between. Keep plugging away. I know you'll get there, because then I know they've had to invest millions in getting this off the ground, and so I'm very excited. That's not a negative thing. I'm just sharing a little bit of trivia and something fun and behind the scenes a little bit from that aspect of where that comes from. And I thought that was kind of fascinating. Weagle Broadcasting, aka like all their other channels, from where this morphed from the MeTV Toons that we had over on, the little blocks we used to have from like Pink Panther, and I know they pulled those. Woody, the Woody Woodpecker, Tom and Jerry, and the Bugs Bunny block, and then it would lean into Westerns on a Saturday. And I always would look at Mora on a Saturday night, or some of the people I knew from my past, and I was like, Spingooey, baby, Spingooey. This is all on MeTV originally, and they own a bunch of other channels, Star TV and et cetera, and it was just kind of exciting to finally see. Like, I've been wanting to get that, and I have an over-the-air or OTV setup, just like the old days, but it has the newer block. And sadly, I am a tech gal and an audio gal and a music gal, and just sort of a Jane of many trades, if you will. But I don't know. I've done my research. I don't know if this particular television has the older, 1.0. I know there's an NTSC 3.0 now for the higher level of digital, and then they just did that I was always keeping up on that over the last few years. I don't know. It's a very complex situation. What I'm referring to is there's these new boxes, and I just don't know if it's because I'm only picking up the lower 1.0, lower end SD digital, or just the way my antenna is. I mean, there's so many variants, and I've did so much research on direction and unidirection and omni and just full direction and single direction and all these other parts that are involved, which always inspired me. I actually had a really nice antenna set up at one of my other locations that I was able to get quite a few channels in, and some of the clearer days I would actually get an NBC affiliate, and we can get PBS up here, we can get Charge, and we can get Comet TV. I used to watch a ton of Comet TV. That they're doing a Comet Con, or shoot, now I should have made sure I had that word in my head before I did it. And they're having that come up Comet Fest. There we go. They're going to be playing like Terminator and Flash Gordon. Like there's a bunch of them over there. If you guys check out Comet TV, I'll put the link for that too. But anyway, I kind of strayed off. Those are the only channels I got. And to lead back to MeTV, because they had MeTV Plus. They also put, like, it was like a Sunday night block they had on MeTV Plus. And then during the mornings, I would always set my alarm to get up early and try to catch Tune In With Me with Bill and Toonie. Hi. Because it's all good. They'll never see us. I doubt they'll ever see this. I'm just funning. But I always wished, I was like, man, I wish there was some way I could have been able to do more voiceover work for some of these. I tried so hard in the late 80s, early 90s when I was out on my own doing radio. And then the later years when I started moving and doing a little bit of television and radio and voiceover work, like in the New York area, it was really hard. I was trying to get in for this, and I was honored as heck to be able to do the whole Simpsons thing. That's a different story for a different day. But this always got me excited, and to see that morph past that, and then eventually this goes live this summer, and it just really inspired me. And there's so much more to say about this particular setup, and I was just overjoyed. And ours, so we missed out on Captain Planet and a couple of the others, because they were actually playing like one of the most first ever animated shorts about this little dinosaur. And then they did some promos and some other things that led up to that, but we didn't see that before. I have you can get it on Filio. And I have no affiliates, and this is not an advertisement or anything like that. I'm just sharing my joy of classic cartoons. And ours went live at 8 a.m. on June 25th, 2024 this year. On Friendly TV, I actually had to restart the Friendly, and then when I was checking some forums and Reddits, I saw some other folks say that it had come up about 8 o'clock. Others saw it come up at 6 and 7, depending on where they were. And then when I refreshed, it was nice to see that added in there. Excuse me. So I have a year of Friendly TV, and that's how I would watch that, sadly, because I don't have the antenna set up, so we do it that way. I spent the extra $1 per month so I can also record, because before I had it, but I didn't have the recording option, so I upgraded. They eventually give you a small credit back for that, and so it was just nice to have that other channel added in there. And it's so much nicer now. I don't have to like lose sleep so I can stay up, and so I've been recording so many ones, and there's such a long list in there. It's nice to see that they're getting digital remakes and HD versions of all these great Hanna-Barbera classics coming in. Top Cat. Some of my favorites are Looney Tunes. I'm really, really, really hoping that I'm excited. I just heard about Super Friends. The Wonder Woman character, the voice actress there as well. She always inspired me, and the empowerment from those characters, Superman, Batman, Robin. Scooby-Doo was a huge influence. I miss you, Don. When we lost Don Music as well. Real Ghostbusters. I love the GoBots block. I hope that eventually merges into. It'd be amazing if they would get Paramount, Nickelodeon, and just these others on board, is be able to get like Transformers, G.I. Joe. For classics, I would love to see Hong Kong Phooey, Speed Buggy. It's so nice to catch randomly Josie and the Pussycats, the original. I love Space, Yogi Space Race, and of course, that came from the original Wacky Races, and Penelope Pit Stop, I got that on. But every time I hear one of my other favorite actors, when he did the voice for Templeton on the animated Charlotte's Web, I'd hear his voice and his laugh, and it would always make me think of, okay, Templeton. I could talk about these characters and the joy of this for hours, and it's been nice to reinvigorate that joy from my childhood. Some could say it's nostalgia, and that'll die off. But it's just nice to take a moment to look back at that piece of history and art and all those great parts. Like I hope we see like Space Ghost, Herculoids. I know they're working on it. Like, they've had to spend millions on just, like, this isn't as easy as just someone throwing in a DVD. If you watch one of the interviews, I'll put the link for, is it Black Comedian? Like, he had a chance to talk to him. He is so funny. I'll put his link in there as well for one of the interviews he had, and one of the more recent one that he had as well, because they mentioned some spoilers coming in there as well. There's so many in there. Like, now I'm actually recatching some of the Captain Planet. I'm actually catching up on Inspector Gadget, because when I was so young, and the only way we ever saw cable was, sadly, when my parents separated. I don't know if you see that in a good or bad way, but they had the partner had lived in Augusta, and my brother and I would come in. I think it was about every other weekend. We'd offset each parent, and they had cable in there, and they had these old cable boxes. It's like this little rectangle one. It was like black with like a little brown. It was very fancy. It looked very fancy. And you just had these little buttons you push on it. And it would have, like, I hope we get, it'd be amazing if we got He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, She-Ra. I'm so excited. I've been really excited. I didn't watch The Mask the first time around. It would have been nice to be able to get, and don't get me wrong, I love his voice too. I mean, it'd be great to see Turtles. I know you can just use Paramount Plus, because we have it through Walmart Plus, and it actually gives you Paramount Plus Essentials, I think it is. And then, so we're able to see that through there as well. It'd be amazing. Like, there's so many. I could sit here, my head's just going like, with the excitement. Share some of your favorites below. I'm really excited to hear, first off, some of your favorites that are currently airing, and then to hear some of your favorites that you'd love to see. Like, and I know I'm really excited. Like, it's nice to see them get, they got the Harvey cartoons with Casper, and they're trying to get those re-HD'd. And, oh gosh, there's so many. Like Mr. Magoo, I know they had to cut a bunch of them out for a particular character that was in there. And of course, Rocky and Bullwinkle was a huge inspiration for me, especially they got my radio career off the ground. And yes, I piggybacked off of Bullwinkle. We created a small, short moose, because we always had so many moose up here in the state of Maine. But those two particular characters always inspired me. And we had this show called the Rock and Rick and Bullwinkle Breakfast Show back then. It was on a college radio station. I think it was like 90.5 or 91.5 or something. It was in Waterville, Maine. And this got me my first job at 92 Moose. B90.5, you had to use different. But I thought I'd be right in there. No, they start you out or at least they started me out and doing the AMs. But I didn't complain. I brought my little Game Boy, or I brought my book with me. And once I got the routine, I didn't bring anything for the first while. I was really focused on making sure I listened to one of the most greatest announcers ever that also inspired me to continue. There's so many inspirational pieces that come from so many different places for me. And I have such a long list of voice actors, and just rehearing those again reinvigorates me. My apologies. I'm having a bit of itching here today. I have it's been a go. I think it's been a rough time, and having that piece back and having some time to actually enjoy it now in the background. It's been nice to re-see a bunch of those. It's been nice to see Yogi's Treasure Hunt again come back around. I'm sure they're going to do that one after Yogi's Space Race, and I loved his so many voice actors. I could sit here for hours talking about some of my idols and some of my inspiration and some of the individuals I looked up to and would try to speak to or just have a few minutes with them and just to pick their brain a little bit, and not get like your generic answers, actually get a little bit of love and compassion and not like terrify the crap out of them. Just being able to talk about that kind of stuff. And it was always a project, and having an opportunity, especially being able to see like the real Ghostbusters again, and to have Frank Welker pop up, his voice, and Slimer and Ray, and so much, like, he's another voice of many talents. And just to hear so many of these great actors' voices pop up, it brings back not just that nostalgia and the joy. But anyway, I could talk. I'm trying to keep this under about 20-ish or so minutes, and I just wanted to share a little bit more. I really appreciate all of the positive feedback and the joy about it. I know there's pros and cons with this, of what comes with it. Of course, you got your classics in there, like the Jetsons, Flintstones. It's nice to see No Strings Attached. So like the Thunderbirds, that most people know. There's Fireball, XL, and just so many of those as well that came up. Are some of those like your favorites? It'll be interesting if we'll see something, any kind of like live action interactions. I know Mr. Rogers, Captain Kangaroo was a big inspiration for me growing up, as well. Sesame Street. Not that we'd be getting that. I'm just saying, like, these kind of parts that are involved with some animation but live action. And I remember the Electric Company with the live action Spider-Man segments, and I would always watch it just to see if I'd catch that. And just so many other memories that I could just talk about for hours. I hope it's inspiring you, or you're not too bummed out if you're not able to get it or be able to afford to get that. And there's so many more. I know that's coming. I'm really stoked for Super Friends to come back. I mean, that someone made on YouTube, I think there's like a 8 or 12 or something minute long of like a remix of the intro, and I could not get enough of that. It helps me build when I'm outside and I'm building little projects or something, and it just gets me inspired hearing that dun 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 dun, as well as just the themes that catch my ear when I'm just doing stuff, and I just pretty much leave it on in the background while I'm just doing my daily routine. And it's life is a struggle, and I try to catch what I can from the joy of it. And then Saturday mornings, and I love the 80s block on Sunday mornings. And I love, some of my favorite excitement is to see they've brought back, not just, I've watched the regular run of the Flintstones and Jetsons many times over the decades, but when they were on MeTV on Sunday mornings, I would literally set my alarm, we'd make brunch, and I would do Flintstones and then Jetsons, and then switch it after the Brady Bunch intro came on. And so now it's nice to see like this block Sunday afternoons. This is really exciting again to see something like that as well. To get, like, there's a 2-hour block in there of like the newer Flintstones that we had after the original series that came some years later, with most of the cast coming back. We know what had happened to a few individuals, but it was nice to see that again. I was like, oh yeah, I almost forgot about those. I remember texting my brother about some of the different shows and moments when that would come out. And then the Scooby-Doo block, it's nice to see the Scooby-Doo movies back. And just during the I used to watch a little bit, I'd catch a little bit of the news and weather. I'm not a big news person. Usually I'd catch a couple minutes on the radio in the morning. I was like, that's all I need for the week. I don't want to get overwhelmed with news too much, but keeping informed a little. And it was just nice to be able to spend Scooby-Doo, like the prime time slots, like 6 p.m. Eastern time for us. For some of those that might be on Central Time, be an hour later, or Pacific Time, which is a 3-hour difference for them. And so it's just nice to be able to record that and then come back to some of those, and to kind of come down in my evening and enjoy something. I know there's so many other blocks in, but I'm going to kind of wrap this up. Share your joy, your pros, your cons, the chaos. Is it in your market? What have you liked and disliked about it? What are you looking forward to? What are you hoping that they'll get? Just so much more. Feel free to, I'm not even going to say like and subscribe. You don't have to. I'm not really out for plugs or anything like that. It's just nice to share in the joy of art and some nostalgia. You know, there's pros and cons when it comes to nostalgia, but I won't get into that. To bring this down, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you again for MeTV Tunes, and I hope that we have plenty more ahead. See you later.